What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over this month. I had around, I think, 85 or 90% win rate. I'll get into that. I'll throw up like the dashboard and stats or whatever. But we're going to be going over some trades, something you guys can learn, something I can learn. Now we're not going to go over every single trade just because, first of all, I'm not going to lie, I don't remember every single trade and it would take too long. But I am going to review this last week. And I'm going to review, honestly, the one like actual loss that I took that was completely preventable and it was on me. And, I'm not going to linger over again, but it is a bit disappointing and I'll get into that as well. But I'll kind of start off by taking, like, a lot of you guys, when you look at something like a higher win rate system, a lot of you guys like care a lot about it or like think you need to have it. You really don't. And again, like this type of month, like it's a good thing. Like, it's not always going to happen. Like, some months I'm going to take more losses, some months I'm going to take less losses. Again, I'd say a lot of people did get, have a hard month. I personally just, had a lower frequency. I had a week where I took like 2 trades, pretty much only one. The second one was kind of so like, again, it really shouldn't be something where you should like try to compare yourself. Goal is to make money. If you're making money or you're net positive, that is a good thing. Okay. Again, personally, mindset I have going into every single day. Again, I either take a trade that I'm comfortable with or I don't take a trade. There's no stress. Okay. But I'll get into this week because I did have a pretty good week this week. But yeah. So start off by Tuesday. Monday was Memorial Day. Tuesday, kind of noticed my bias going today. We're obviously in these hourly gaps, right? We're bullish, so I have an inherent bullish bias to these highs, right? Going into market open, we get a very aggressive dump, but off of that, we get a flip, and I enter off of this candle right here. My mindset being, okay, targeting this high. My mindset being, okay, I'm going to go break even at this high, right? And if we're going to reject, we're either going to reject this fair value gap right here, right? But at that point, I'm break even. If we want to truly go higher, right, continue the overall hourly trend, we're going to go to, these highs. Again, like, I didn't hold till here. This is my TP. Now, this was a bit before news. There was news at 10, so I did have to close a couple minutes early on the alpha accounts. I was able to hold on the top step just because, like, the kind of like news rules. But that's the first trade here. I think it's kind of clean, right? You're painting the picture. It is a bit more reversal based. I will give it to you. Which, again, a little bit, I'm not going to say sketchy, but like, not like, I guess, like, I'm not going to say bread and butter. That sounds corny, but like, not like usually like the main stuff that I take, but I still do, really love that trade. Okay. I think it's a very logical trade. You get this nice V-shaped flip. Another thing as well, some of you guys, like in the beginning, I did have, a possible short bias, right? Specifically on ES, just because it was a bit more bearish to these lows. But what I kind of notice here is, first of all, we buy up very aggressively. We inverse, these gaps right here. Same thing on NQ. NQ looks a bit more bearish, right? We're holding these, but again, the low is really far away. How far is it? Like 70 points, right? And then the hourly gaps, like, we're still in these hourly gaps that I feel like we're just going to react off of just because higher time frame, right? We're bullish. Like the 4 hour, we tapped this gap. We rejected very strongly, right? So it's like I would still have a bullish bias and say, hey, like, I don't think we're going to take this low, right? Obviously, it could have happened, but again, I did have that short bias going into the day. But after I saw this get invalidated, this candle right here, I was like, yeah, we're possibly going to start flipping here just because we started making, some more bullish market structure. And then specifically after this inverse, that is when I did end up taking that trade. So we'll get into the next day. That was Wednesday. Let's kind of skip forward. Wednesday, 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 Wednesday. Okay, boom. So Wednesday, we'll go to market open, right? Going into open, what do I notice? Boom. Very simple target, right? We have these two equal highs, not like pretty equal highs on the 4 hour, right? Hour, 4 hour, whatever you want to say. Tap this gap right here. Going into market open, we get a nice displacement on the 5 minute. Boom. Took it off that close. Stop was a little bit below the gap, and I took it to the first hourly high, not the second one, just so I don't get edged in case. So this is the second trade. Again, 1 minute does look kind of cooked, but that's why I took it off the 5 minute. Logically, it's like, okay, we get this displacement up. What are the odds that we just like flip here and go lower and stop me out before going up? Like, I don't think it's likely, maybe like 20%, right? Because it's like after this displacement, like we're probably going to go to this high before going lower. It just makes sense to me. Again, that was the trade I took Wednesday. Now, yesterday, a little bit of a tragic date for me. It would have been, I'll just get into it. I took a trade. It was a break-even trade for me, but it did end up actually hitting my target a bit later. It wouldn't have been with my entry, but if it did play out, it would have been my biggest day by far. But again, nothing to I guess tweak about. It just happens. So right here, off open. My kind of inherent bias going into today is obviously like bullish, right? Like bias, but it's like we have these like there's a huge 4 hour gap, but it's like, yeah, you know, we're probably gonna go back up to the highs, maybe highs up here. But market after open did not decide to do that. We started dumping. Now again, this first dump on the 5, like this is an aggressive dump. Don't get me wrong, okay? But I don't think it really convinced me enough, just because like, dude, looking at this structure, I'm like, damn, like why do we really want to go lower, right? So after we got this dump, I was kind of watching this hourly close. On the 5 minute here, we did end up getting a retrace and a move down. I did not end up taking this. It does look like it would have been a solid entry, something like this. I just didn't love the fact that like I didn't have any real targets, because if I did enter up here, it's like the only really target is this low, which is like ridiculously far away. I'm not going to target it. I could have targeted something closer. I could have taken an entry, but I'm be honest, like I really didn't love the idea of shorts. I was like, I'm not really gonna FOMO into a short, because I imagine I FOMO into a short and I take a stupid loss, I'm gonna feel like an idiot, right? So after we actually ended up getting this close on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, when I saw this 4 hour close, I was like, oh yeah, right, like we're going to this low. So that's when I was like open to the idea, and the entry I took, boom, we actually made the second move down, right? Displaced a lot. We have these nice gaps to retrace to. We retrace to this gap, boom, and we get a very nice confirmation lower, right? Nice close. I take this. I mean, I was very heavy on this trade across both accounts. Targeting 3R around, it was like 3.1 or something like that. Yeah, 3.1. And again, I almost never do 3R trades, but this was just such like a good opportunity for me, because in my eyes, it's like, this is still a high win rate, at least, you know. I usually go breaking at something like this low, or I watch the reaction, and like we're definitely hitting this low. So it's like after that, like if we do hit the next logical TP, right, like this is just going to be a fat win, and I'm ready to take that, right? I'm bidding that. So that's what I ended up taking. And then after we took these lows right here, I ended up going break even. Second I saw this wick, GG's, I'm not gonna lie guys, it's not gonna play out. So it ended up pushing up higher, and I did get stopped at break even on this trade. It did end up playing out later in the day, but again, like it was just like really random. I'm not going to take this re-entry at 11:35. Like, first of all, I'm off the charts. But even if I was, I would not take like this re-entry, because it's like, what are we holding? The second thing is like, imagine I FOMO into this re-entry because I thought about the P&L I missed on this trade, and then I lost this trade and I was down on the day. Imagine how stupid I would feel. And then today, Friday, Yeah, like nothing for me. I literally said I wasn't even gonna wake up, but I still ended up waking up. I kind of regret it because I knew I wasn't gonna trade today. It's like a Friday, and last day of the month. It's like, am I really gonna be able to like look at myself if I take a loss the last day of the month? Like I'm gonna just feel like an idiot. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. We'll go back. What I want to go over, the one real like loss that I took, as you guys will see, it was like 300 or something, I think, of that nature. Hold up, let me find this. I gotta find the actual day. Let me check my phone, because I literally cannot remember the day that loss was. So give me a second, and I'm not gonna cut this out because I really don't feel like editing this out. So be patient with me, guys. Okay, it's on the 15th. So this is something I'm not gonna lie, very disappointed in. So pretty much what happened going into this day. Right, I had a very, very bullish bias. It's very clear, right? We take this low, we tap this gap. Where are we gonna go? To these highs up here and these highs up here. Very clean bias. Going into the day, okay? We just range. We range here, and I get off right around, like here. Or not, my bad, not right, like right around here. I get off earlier just because it's like, bro, what is this range? Like, I think we're going to take a target, but it's just doing some BS, okay? So I get off. We end up actually delivering here, and I do, what was I going to say? I do end up actually getting back in the charts right here. Dude, my dog is licking my fingers right now. I do end up getting back on the charts, and I was like looking to take an entry to these highs. I had a limit order set, and again, I never do limit orders, but it's like, dude, if I'm already like kind of chasing price, it's like, let me get like a good entry. So I had an entry set right around here in this gap. I was just trying to get filled, and at a stop, like it was below this gap right here. So something like this, I ended up setting a limit. I was like, you know what, this is, the draw is definitely gonna hit now. My target's definitely gonna hit. Let me take this, okay? So didn't end up getting filled on that, and I was, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was mad. Not mad, but I was just disappointed because it's like I knew where price was going in the day. It should have just been so clean. I should have won, right? I knew where it was going, okay? And yeah, so I knew where it was going. Price was going. I was like, dude, I was just like frustrated that I was not able to capitalize off this move, because I was like, yeah, this is gonna be the move of the week. Like this would have been the day I would have had a really nice day. So it got to my head, bro. I'm be honest. I was really frustrated. Like literally, like I never really care about my trades, but this was one specific day where I do remember it's like it did end up running without me, and it did get to me. And what I ended up doing, guys, is very, very stupid, and I'll get into this. So I was, bro, like even looking back at this, but obviously I'm gonna tell y'all. So I was actually 1:45 p.m. I was actually at the gym, okay? And I remember I checked my Discord, and someone was talking about how we're moving and how we're gonna take highs. And the point is, someone reminded me of the charts while I was at the gym working out. And bro, I ended up entering a trade right here off this gap, targeting higher. I was like, dude, I missed this. Like this is an okay setup, and I ended up taking something like this. I was like, I don't know. I forgot what else. It was, the point is I FOMO'd it. Like I completely broke my rules. I traded at what, 1:28 p.m. I thankfully only took a mini on one account because I literally just like signed in on my phone when I saw this, and I took it. And then like right after I took it, I knew I was an idiot. I was like, what am I doing? But I was like, bro, let me just see if like this is gonna play out to the highs. And then I just ran, and I thankfully got stopped for like a $300 loss per account. So it wasn't really a real loss. Like, I know if I throw my stats up, like technically with the win, like the wins are still like 4 times bigger than the loss on average. But again, like, what was I gonna say? It's like, it was just still such a stupid thing to do. And like, you guys can see the only real loss, the other loss, it was like a break even. It was like a slight $100 slip. And again, like, this was the only, like, if I did not do this, if I did not break my rules for this single day, I would have had like pretty much an undefeated month. Obviously, like with the stats, like they'll count break evens or like a slight loss or whatever. And then obviously like add-ins, you'll see it was a bit more trades. It said it was, I think it totaled up to like 15 or 16. If you guys don't know, I do add into my trades, and that is counted as a second trade. Officially, I think I only took 11 or 12 trades with, 2 or 3 break evens I think I had, and then that one loss right here. And my dog is absolutely tweaking out. I'm trying to talk loud just because this guy is absolutely bugging out. But again, like, what you guys can conclude is like, bro, obviously have that set system every given day. I wake up, I wake up, I, look for a trade. If I don't see something, I'm off, and I don't care. All right. And you can see the one day where I did ended up caring, I did end up doing something. I ended up chasing. I broke my thing. And, obviously you learn, okay? Obviously, people, like, we're human. Stuff is going to happen. You just have to minimize that happening. What I will do, first of all, when I am done trading, I want y'all to realize something. At 11 or whenever I hop off the charts, I don't want to think about trading. If I'm scrolling on TikTok, I like scrolling on TikTok, and I see a trading video, I click not interested. Sometimes I'll even block someone because I don't want to see trading videos when I'm done from work. Why am I thinking of work when I'm not at work? If someone talks about trading at like 5 or 6 p.m., I'm like, bro, shut up. Like, I'm not trying to think about that or like talk about a chart. After 11, I do not look at the chart one more time, okay? I don't look at it. Dude, Mateo, I cannot with this dog. Oh my. But again, when I am not actively working, which again is an hour and a half, I am isolating myself. I'm not thinking about it. Again, guys, I trade from my bed. I am in my bed right now. You know what I did since I woke up? I looked for a trade. I was like, why did I look for a trade? And I was like, I'm going to record this video. Guys, like, again, this is just what works for me. The more you simplify it, what was I going to say? The easier it's going to be, okay? The easier it's going to be to follow your stuff. And again, you really don't have to overcomplicate it that much to me. Oh, the other thing I was going to talk about is, even though it says like right here, or like in the beginning when I threw up the stuff, like the reason why I usually am able to mitigate losses is I'm pretty good with adding into my positions. That's like kind of trading low RR, my average RR being I think 1.5 to 1.7 or something like that. Being able to add into my positions, add into winning positions, bid heavier on a good trade, right? When it's already going in profit, and my worst being a break even and my best being a win that's, maybe 2 times what I risk when my RR is only 1.4, 1.5 or whatever, sometimes 2.5 times what I risked, right? So that example is what helps me, kind of mitigate my losses and have a bit more positive RR, even though I'm trading lower risk to reward. That's something, I like doing. I like adding to position. I like bidding heavy. Usually what I'll end up doing, I'll go in with like 2 contracts. I'll add a third, sometimes 1, and I'll add a second. Again, I never try to add more than, like double what I was initially in, just because it trails your entry too much. But it is something I like doing. So again, that is it. Pretty good month. I'm, again, still pretty disappointed in myself for doing that. But again, we learned. Thankfully, I did not take her across all accounts. I just logged in on my phone. On the alpha accounts, I was not dumb enough. I was actually locked out on Top Step, so I was not dumb enough to do that. But yeah, pretty good month. Again, just have to stay level-minded, not really overcomplicate stuff. I have to end this video because my dog is tweaking out. I'm going to go take him outside. So I will catch you guys on the next video.